In 1968, the Soviet regime temporarily opened the gates and let some Jews leave the country. Aaron and Laura had waited for this moment for nearly 2 decades. Their children became adults, and Aaron became a grandfather. Regardless of how much time went by, he was ashamed that he'd never been a part of Anna's children and his grandchildren's life. Also, he had a big secret that he couldn't reveal living in the Soviet country. But now, he didn't have to keep this secret anymore, because he was leaving the country. But to whom would he reveal his secret? He would never forget that cold, pitiless winter of 1946 in the Siberian forced labor camps. The prisoners built the Baikal-Amur main railroad line. Conditions in the camp barrack were extremely harsh, the room was always very cold and the clothing was insufficient to withstand the temperature. The prisoners didn't receive enough food, and the quality of the food they received was so poor that they easily got sick. In addition, inmates physically abused each other and were abused by camp guards. The working hours were long and exhausting, and the death rate from exhaustion and disease was high. Aaron was exhausted, starved, and humiliated. Not only had he worked shoulder to shoulder with murderers and thieves, but also next to German and Japanese prisoners of war, people he fought with, and people who murdered his loved ones. He had no chance to survive these conditions because he already had asthma, so it was just a matter of time that his health deteriorated, though he was lucky. Aaron was housed with a tall and muscular man, Victor, who was convicted for murder. Victor had already served the 2nd year. He was sick, and his face turned gray, making him look even crueler, though he coughed non-stop. At the very first day in the camp, Aaron kept quiet, avoiding making an eye contact with his inmate, fearing a bad temper from Victor, and being ready to fight back at any time. But at nighttime, Victor coughed blood severely, and Aaron took care of him. "You'd better ask them to place you into a hospital." Victor smiled. "No, brother. I'm not a hospital patient anymore." "What do you mean?" "Yes, you are. Look at you. You are too sick." "Hey, stop that, I know better." It was the following morning, and they had no choice but to get up and perform harsh labor. The convicts dug and laid rail track under the watch of armed guards. The temperature dropped very low, and the padded jacket didn't keep them warm. They had to work harder continuously to keep themselves warm. The gloves were too thick and uncomfortable to hold a shovel or a hammer, but they also didn't protect from the unbearable freezing temperature. Everybody suffered from frozen faces, fingers, and toes. There was a hole in the ground that prisoners dug to have some resting place. There was a blazing stove with burning woods there. The hole was not big and could fit just a few people. Therefore, everybody had to wait their turn to get in. Also, the temperature in the hole was extremely hot and it was impossible to stay there for too long. The prisoners jumped in, undressed to warm up their bodies, but in a minute they were already covered with a slimy layer of sweat. It was hard to breathe there, so they couldn't stay for too long, and went back to work to freeze again. The guards were fed a little more than the prisoners and had warmer clothing, but they lived almost the same quality of life as all the convicts. They had to get up earlier in the morning, bring the convicts to the working place, and watch them. They didn't move as much as workers, so their feet were badly frozen. So, the watch was poor, but it was impossible to run away anyway. Even if a convict escaped, he would find himself in a cold, merciful desert with no food, drink, or shelter. Escape meant death. So, people worked, hoping that they might survive and would someday see their family again, though only nearly 10% of all the convicts did. Victor's condition worsened every day. Aaron did all he could to ease his suffering, but there was little he could do except for an extra tea and covering him with his own blanket. Victor protested, but Aaron insisted, "I can sleep with my padded jacket on." In a few days, Victor's condition worsened badly. "I won't be able to get up tomorrow morning, Aaron," he said, coughing up blood. "I know, brother, but I don't know how to help you." "You can't," Victor said, and added, "I'm dying, and I need to confess, Aaron." "I don't think they would call a priest, Victor." "No, they won't. I want to confess to you, Aaron. You are the best man I've ever known. Do you mind?" "Thank you, Victor. Yes, sure, go ahead. I'm not a murderer, as you might think of me. Aaron smiled. Yes, I know that already. But you looked very brutal when I first saw you, especially after they threatened me that you were a crazy murderer. Victor coughed again. I guess I'm a murderer, but not crazy. A few women died because of me. Though it was not my fault, really. I'm a doctor, a gynecologist. I made extra cash by helping women with abortions. Some women were healthy and strong enough to go through recovery without medical help, but some were not. So, I did the job and left them on their own. And later, I learned that some of them bleed to death. If they called me, I would come to help. They never called me, and went to a hospital. Some of them made it, and some of them didn't. So, anyway, eventually I was caught for doing abortions. I didn't know you were a doctor. Aaron was surprised. Yeah, I am. And this is why I know that most likely I won't make it till morning. This is my time to confess. Oh man, your words are chilling my spine. Well, that's the truth. I'll die very soon. Victor said matter-of-factly. Death is a part of life, and as a doctor, I look at it a little differently than you do, but of course, it would be nice to live a little longer. He smiled weakly. I have something for you, Aaron. He reached under his mattress and removed a pair of socks, a scarf, and gloves. This is my present to you. They are very warm, made out of wool. Only you have to wear them underneath your clothes, otherwise, somebody will steal it from you. Oh, man. Why didn't you wear it yourself? I did all the time. I just hid it well enough, so that nobody would see it. But I won't need it anymore. It's all yours. Oh, man. You are not dead yet. I am. Trust me on it. He coughed again, spiting blood. Listen, I have to tell you a secret. If I die, it would die with me anyway. If you make it, it might help you. Victor told his story, coughing frequently, but being persistent to finish it. One of my patients didn't have money to pay me for an abortion. Instead, she gave me a precious stone. It was so big that I was afraid to evaluate the cost of it. If somebody knew that I had such a stone, I would probably be arrested. So, I just kept it in my drawer. I thought that if I ever were able to immigrate to another country, then I would have an opportunity to sell it. When they arrested me, they searched my house. They opened all the drawers, trashing everything they could, and when they opened the drawer where I kept this stone, they pulled it too hard and the drawer fell down on the floor, and the stone rolled onto the desk. I think that if they found it, I wouldn't be a murderer, but I would probably be convicted of treason or robbery, as if it makes any difference. But they never found it. I have a feeling that the stone is still there somewhere. The floor in the room had a lot of cracks, so the stone could easily get stuck in between them. If you ever get out of here, check in at my house and try to find it. And if you do, and if you even get out of this country, you might be able to sell it, and it could help you to survive. Victor died a few hours later. Bella. Aaron called out. She approached him. The girl knew him, her mother took her to visit her grandfather a few times. Hi, Grandpa, she said. Hi, sweetheart. What are you doing here? I'm waiting for you. Just came by to say hello and maybe walk you home, if you don't mind. Sure. Aaron planned to leave the country in a few months. He decided to compensate a little for all he lost in his life, and started to pick up his granddaughter from school every day. He always brought her a candy or a chocolate, and they walked home together through the park. He told her his stories about the medals he received at war, an orphanage he lived in with his siblings, and an aircraft school. He never told her his prison story, thinking it would scare her off. Grandpa, I didn't know that you went to aircraft school. Oh yes, I did. And I got very good grades. Did you fly a plane? Yes, but just a few times. I wanted to be a pilot, but they didn't let me. Why? You said you did well in school. Because I was a Jew. That's why. Grandpa, what is the story about Jews? I don't get it. Why do kids make fun of me, and adults never talk about it? Because they are afraid, so they keep it a secret. Afraid of what? They are afraid to be imprisoned. For what? For being different. I don't understand it. I know, baby. You have to live a long life to uncover all the secrets. And also, if you do, you'll learn that it's just very stupid and unfair. Yes, it is very unfair. I wish I had the power to end it. I can give you some power, if you know how to keep a secret. He smiled. I can keep a secret. Bella was intrigued. Okay, I'll tell you, but you have to remember that it's a very serious secret. It's not a joke, not a childish thing. Okay. She looked at him, not blinking. I'm going to give you a talisman, a magic stone that will make all your dreams come true. Oh. Grandpa, she smiled. There is no such thing? I'm not a little kid anymore to believe in it. Oh yes, there are. Just trust me on it. There are a lot of things that we can't explain. Like what? Bella rolled her eyes in annoyance, but Aaron ignored it. Like your soul, for example. Can you explain to me what your soul is? What is it made of? Bella didn't find an answer to his question, but was still in denial. Daddy always said that all these are just stories for stupid kids. He said that magic does not exist. Well, I can't argue with your daddy. He is absolutely right. There is no such thing as magic, but there are a lot of things that people just don't know. Like what? Okay, tell me. Are you afraid of the dark? No, not really. Oh, it's good to know because I was told that there is an ugly monster lives in this park, and he likes to eat 12-year-old girls. He laughed. Yeah, you are right, she laughed back uneasy. You don't believe me? Of course not. There is no such thing as monsters. Okay, then just take a look behind this bush. Bella walked to the bush as Aaron hid behind the tree. She turned around and didn't find her grandfather. It was dark and very uncomfortable to be in the park alone. Grandpa! Grandpa, she called, but he stayed behind the tree, unmoving. She turned around, searching with her eyes in the dark. A tree branch cracked in the dark and Bella startled. Grandpa AA! She screamed with horror. Why are you screaming? I'm here. He walked away from the tree. You scared me half to death, he yelled at him. Don't you ever do this to me again. I didn't do anything. I just stepped down to pee. Also, you said that you are not afraid of any monsters. So. Why then, all of a sudden, did you get so scared? I don't know. I just was. See, there are a lot of things that we don't know and don't understand. We don't even understand our own behavior sometimes, but it doesn't mean that we have to deny everything that we do not understand, because it's there. We have to accept it as is. So, if you are ready to accept my present, I'll give it to you. If not, it's fine too. But I have to tell you that this is your one-time life opportunity. I'm leaving for Israel, and we might never see each other again. Sure, Bella said shortly. Aaron reached into his pocket and removed a small jewelry box. He opened it, and Bella saw a beautiful sparkling stone the size of a bean. It shined like the sun was shining inside it. Wow. Bella exhaled. It's so beautiful. As she said it, the stone shone brighter. Grandpa. It's incredible. She was amazed. How is it possible? I don't know, Bella, but it's a fact. It hears you and appreciates your compliment. Where did you get it? I found it in my grandfather's possession after he died. Aaron lied. He never told me where he got it from, but I learned its magic power over the years. What is this magic power, Grandpa? Oh, this talisman gave me strength to make a right decision, to fight my enemies, to bear hunger and pain. It gives me confidence and clears my mind, preventing me from being cruel, mad, unjust, greedy, and fearful. It encourages me in all my decisions, and when I fail, it helps me to get up and start over again. Grandpa, I can't take it. You are going to Israel. You would need it yourself. No, I don't need it anymore, Bella. I achieved my dream. Israel was everything I dreamed of. Also, I'm already old. I don't need anything else. You are young, and have a lot to wish for. You really need it. Please? Okay. Bella's eyes shone. Good. Only let me ask the stone first if it doesn't mind going with you. Bella looked at him curiously. Grandpa, you are silly. You still don't believe me? Do you? He lowered his head to the stone that was in the jewelry box and asked, do you mind if I give you to Bella? She'll take good care of you. And suddenly, the stone sparks dimmed, and then disappeared. Oh. Talisman, I didn't mean to upset you. Please. The stone weakly sparked again. If you are so upset, let's make a deal. I love my granddaughter more than anything in the world, and I want you to love her as much. The stone sparked brighter again. So, why don't I keep your sparks, but let Bella keep your strength? Aaron removed the stone from the box. To Bella's amazement, the light stayed in the box, though the stone still sparked in the street light. Aaron placed the stone into her open palm, as she looked at her grandfather with eyes full of astonishment, and he knew that she believed. Thank you, Grandpa. She whispered. Don't tell anybody, remember it's your biggest secret. Talk to your talisman and talk about your problems and desires. It'll help you to make a good decision and strengthen your spirit, so you can pursue whatever you want with ease. It doesn't make miracles, and doesn't protect you from bad people, but it will protect you from yourself. It'll give you optimism, good mood, and courage. Okay. Thank you, Grandpa. Bella kissed him and went home, locking the front door behind her. Aaron smiled, standing there for a while. He then removed a small flashlight from his sleeve, turned it off, and headed home. Aaron and Laura left for Israel. Aaron never tried to find his mother's house because he didn't have any proof of his relationship to her. He died on his native land, not knowing that, in just a few years, his sister, Sarah, and all his children, Leah, Levi, and Boris, with their families, would immigrate to Israel, becoming one big family, to make his dreams finally come true. Sarah turned 95 years old. More than 100 guests came to celebrate her birthday. It was a great celebration, and journalists from the local Israeli newspaper came as well. Sarah was sitting quietly at the head of the table, watching the guests and smiling. A woman sat next to her. Granny, are you happy? She asked. You bet I am. What else do I need when all my children are having a good time? She said. Do I know you? Yes, you do, Granny, the woman replied. My name is Anna. Your son, Daniel, invited me to your birthday. I'm the daughter of Betty and Leviticus. Do you remember them? The names sound familiar. I'm already too old to remember everything. That's okay, Granny. I'll remind you of everything. Your sister, Fega, was married to David. And David had a brother, Leviticus. Lev is my father. My mom, Betty, was a nurse. She helped your son, Daniel, to cure his headaches. Oh. Now I remember. How could I forget? Of course I remember your mother. I don't believe I ever met you, but I remember your name. Talisman. Well. Yes. We met, Granny, a few years ago, when we immigrated to Israel. It was brief and only one time, so that's okay, if you don't remember. Anna kissed the old woman and Sarah kissed her back, stroking her hair. So, you live in Israel too? Yes, we do, Anna replied. Do you have brothers and sisters? Yes. My older brother name is Sam and my younger brother name is Simon. Simon? My Samuel had a brother, whose name was Simon. He was killed in the war. Yes, I know, Granny. My parents named my brother after your husband's brother. Oh. Really? Yes. Yes. Now I remember. Sarah recalled. Thank you so much. And where are your parents? Are they here? No, Granny. They passed away last year. Oh. I'm sorry. It's hard when parents die. My mother died when I was a girl. My husband's mother died when she was already old. But regardless of how old your parents are, it's so hard to bear. Samuel's mother died from cancer. Before she died, she almost lost her vision due to cataracts. Terrible stomach pains tortured her, making her life a nightmare. Samuel and I took good care of her. We didn't tell her that she had cancer. But she knew. What kind of secrets do they have from me? Riva thought. Did they find out about my stone? Or maybe I have cancer? Riva lived a long and pitiful life. 76 years was quite long in Russia. Riva was tired of living, and truly wanted to rest from all the worries. She moved her hand to her collar. Whom do I give it to? She asked herself that question her entire life. The material on the collar got thin and tore in places. She touched it with her old bony fingers, realizing that the stone started to show through the holes. If only she didn't have the cataract, she would repair it, and then nobody would find it. Suddenly, a chest pain paralyzed her. She was trying to get up and call somebody, but her tongue didn't move. She struggled as Sarah tried to ease her suffering. Mama, take this pill. Please. Just open your mouth. But Riva couldn't do it anymore. Samuel, I can't open her mouth. Sarah complained. Samuel hopelessly looked at his old, dying mother. I'll try to crush the pill and mix it with water. Maybe it will work. Sarah poured sour liquid between Riva's teeth. In a few minutes, Riva felt relief, but she knew it was temporary. It was her last chance. Sarah, she called. I'm so sorry, Sarah. Forgive me. Please. What are you talking about, Mama? Sarah was surprised by the unexpected repentance. Sarah. Here. Diamond, take it. What? A treasure. In my collar, Riva moved her eyes to her black dress, which was hanging on her bed. She saw only a blurry dark spot, but she knew it was her dress. What do you want? Sarah tried to understand. In my collar. The diamond. Take it. Sarah took Riva's dress, touched the collar and removed a pebble through the collar's holes. This is your inheritance, Sarah, Riva said with tremendous relief, and felt so happy. Sarah looked at Riva with surprise. She put the dress on the same place and left the room. Samuel, your mother is getting much worse. She's hallucinating. She is talking about some treasure, a diamond. Look what I found in her collar. She sewed a pebble in it, thinking that it's some kind of talisman or something. Do you have any idea? No. I don't. I'll call the doctor in the morning. Riva died the next day. The time comes for everybody to go. Sarah said, smiling. My time came a long time ago, or at least I felt so. I'm older than my mother-in-law by almost 20 years already. I'm wondering how long God wants me to live. Would I be still around for another 20 years, like my father who died at the age of 116? That would be something, wouldn't it? Anna smiled. But regardless how old I am, I think I remember everybody. Granny, you are amazing. Anna replied. I'm surprised that you still remember me. Of course I remember, Sarah replied. My mind could forget, but all of you always live in my heart. Everybody left. Sarah came back to her room and shut the door. There were several pictures standing on her nightstand. There was Fega, Meyer, and Samuel. Sarah touched the picture of Meyer, as if stroking his hair. She then looked at Fega's eyes, said, "Good night, sweetheart," to Samuel, and went to bed.